Hi, this is Mrs. Brode, and today we are going to talk about factoring completely. So we'll go through the steps real quickly and then we'll work out a few examples. So the number one step is to look for the greatest common factor. If there is a greatest common factor, go ahead and factor that out and put it in front of your parentheses. The second step is to look factor resulting polynomial. If there are two terms, check to see if it's a difference of the squares. If it is a difference of the squares, then you can factor it as such. If it's three terms, you can either use the box method, or you don't necessarily have to factor it mentally. You could use the blankety blank method, the box method, or whatever it is that you like to figure out how to factor those terms. So remember, factor till you can't factor no more. Okay, this is called factoring completely. So you want to make sure there's nothing else that you can do in your final answer. All right, so let's look at number one. The first thing is to see if there's a GCF and to pull that out. So let's just look at the 6, the 3, and the 18. Well, between those numbers, we know that there's a GCF of 3. So then let's look at x to the third, x to the second, and x. That means we can also factor out an x from all of those. Remember, number one mistake is people forget to put that 3x still in their answer, and that is super important. So let's see what is left. If I factor out a 3x from each of these, I'm going to divide them, and I'm going to be left with 2x squared plus x minus 6. Okay. So now what we want to see with this middle term is we see it's 3 terms. So we could do the sum and the product, and we can either factor using the box or factor by grouping if we want to do that, either way. So let's look. We want something that adds to the middle term, so that adds to x, and multiplies to the two outside terms, which would be negative 12x squared. So we'll think about our factors. We've got 1 and 12. That's not going to work. 2 and 6 isn't going to work. So 3 and 4 may work. Which one of those would need to be positive? And we'd need the 4 positive and the 3x negative. So 4x minus 3x equals x. 4x times negative 3x equals negative 12x squared. So we know what our terms are. For this one, I'm going to use the box. So remember that we put our first term, 2x squared, in the top left and the negative 6 in the bottom right. And then the two terms that we just figured out can go in either of the remaining boxes. And then we are going to column factor and row factor. So by column factoring, I can pull out a 2x and a negative 3 on the top. Oops. Then I'm going to row factor, which looks like I can pull out an x plus 2 on the side. So, final answer, don't forget this 3x that we pulled out at the very beginning. That's going to go outside the parentheses. And then we now have our other factors of 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. And you can see if you look in each one of those, there's nothing else we could factor out besides 1. So this would be my final answer. All right, so let's look at number 2. First thing is to factor out our GCF. And we can see that our GCF is going to be 5, and then we can factor out an x. So let's go ahead and divide each of those by that 5x. Don't forget that that 5x is going to go in the outside of the parentheses. 5x to the third divided by 5x. The 5's would cancel out, and we would be left with x squared. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1, and the x's would cancel out. So it told us in the instructions at the top that if we only have 2 terms remaining, look for a difference of the squares. Well, x squared is a perfect square, so is 1, and it is being subtracted, so this is a dots, a difference of the square. So thinking back to how we do that, perfect square of x and x and perfect square of 1 and 1. Again, don't forget that 5x out front. You take one of the first terms plus the last term and one of the first terms minus the last term. So our final answer would be 5x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. And that is all we can do. So that has been factored completely. So remember those rules. First, look for a greatest common factor. Then look for 2 terms, difference of the square, or 3 terms, the box, or a perfect square trinomial, or some other thing that might make it easier to factor. Okay, moving on to number 3. We can see here that we could factor out a 4 from both of these. So I'm going to put that 4 out front, divide everything else. 8 minus 4 is 2. There's nothing with those to divide, those are squared, so they go on my final answer. Negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So now we've got those 2 terms. We want to look for a difference of the squares. We can see it's being subtracted. That's a good start. The problem here is 2 is not a perfect square. So this is not a dots. It's not a difference of the square. So with that being said, there is nothing else that we can do with this. So this would be my final answer. That is being completely factored. That's all we can do for that particular problem. So moving on to number 4. We're looking for GCF. What does 2, 11, and 15 have in common? Nothing except for 1. So let's look at the variables. Z squared, Z, and no Z. Those do not have anything in common either. So there's no GCF that we can take out. So we'll skip to the second part, which is to actually factor it. We would look for a perfect square trinomial. These are not perfect squares. So let's look for the sum and the product. We want something that adds to negative 11z and multiplies to the 2 outside terms 30z squared. So if we're thinking of our terms, our factors of 30, 1 and 30 is not going to work. 3 and 10 is not going to work. We do have 5 and 6. What would we have to do with the 5 and 6 in order to add to a negative 11? Those would both need to be negative. So our factors in this case would be negative 5z and negative 6z. So the last time I used the box method, this time I'm going to do blankety blank. So factoring by grouping. So remember, that's where you put the first term, then you leave a blank, and the last term. And we fill in those blanks with the factors that we just found. So negative 5z and negative 6z. And I could put those flip-flopped. It wouldn't matter. So now I'm going to group each one and pull out a GCF. So for this first one, I'm going to pull out a z. And I'd be left with 2z minus 5. For the second one, it looks like I am going to pull out a negative 3 because I want this term to end up being negative in the parentheses. So if I pull out a negative 3 and divide negative 6 by negative 3, I get a positive 2z. And then 15 divided by negative 3 gives me a negative 5. So remember from there, my two outside terms become one of the factors. And you can see that my inside terms in parentheses are identical. Those become the other factor. So my final answer is z minus 3 times 2z minus 5. All right, moving on to number 5. So we've got three terms. The first thing we're going to look for is a GCF. So let's look at 8, 44, and 28. Well, I can see that I can take a 2 out of those. Is there anything else that I could take out of all those? So let's try 4. 4 will go into 8. 4 will go into 44 11 times. 4 will go into 28 7 times. So it looks like 4 will work. Now let's look at our n's. Into the third, into the second, and n. So they only have a single n in common. So that will go out front. We will divide everything by our GCF of 4n. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. N to the third divided by n is n squared. Negative 44 divided by 4 is negative 11. N squared divided by n is just n. 28 divided by 4 is a positive 7, and the n's would cancel out. So this is not a perfect square trinomial, so we would need to do sum and product. So I need something that adds to negative 11n and multiplies to my two outside terms of 14n squared. So I've got 1 and 14. There's no way to add those together to get 11. And I've got 7 and 2. There are no ways to add those together to get 11. So there's nothing else I can do with this problem. I would just have to leave it like that. And that's okay. That's factored completely. There's nothing else you can factor. They don't have anything else in common except 1. So that would be your final answer. I'm going to go ahead and let you try number 6 on your own, starting with looking for the GCF, then looking for either dots, perfect square trinomials, or factoring using the box or the blankety blank method, factoring by grouping, however you want. Lots of options there. When you think you've got it, go ahead and push play and check your answer with mine. So for my final answer, I got 4v minus 1 times v minus 9. Now, when I did factor out the 4, when I got over to this piece, I did see that v squared and 9 were both perfect squares, so I did try perfect square trinomial, where you take the a and the b factor and double them, but 3 times v is 3v doubled, did not give me this middle term, so that was not a perfect square trinomial. So I chose the box method. You may have chosen to factor by grouping, and you still should have ended up with that final answer. All right, so let's look at review. Remember, we're going to continue to throw in review questions because of that end of course exam and to refresh our memories on things that we did in the first semester or earlier in this semester. So let's go ahead and read this problem. The sides of a piece of cardboard in the shape of a right triangle are in the ratio of 5, 12, 13. If the perimeter is 60 feet, what is the length of the shortest side? Okay, so just because they're in the ratio of 5, 12, 13 doesn't mean that that's necessarily the side length, because you can see that doesn't add up to 60. So we've got one side length of 5x plus 12x plus 13x would equal that 60. We don't know what each side length is yet. So let's go ahead and add 5x plus 12x plus 13x gives us 30x equals 60. We can go ahead and solve for really what the scale factor is here, and we would get x equals 2. Now, x equals 2 is not the final answer. What we need to see here is that we want the shortest side, which would obviously be that ratio of 5. So we're going to plug x back into that shortest side. And we're going to see that 5 times 2 is 10. So the shortest side is 10 feet. And you could totally check this to make sure that you're right by plugging it into each one. So 12 times 2 would be 24. 13 times 2 would be 26. We can see 24 plus 26 is 50, plus 10 more gives us that perimeter of 60. So that would be accurate. So always check your answer to make sure that it makes sense. So that's it for today.